Pretty sure.
The basics, or the usual. Anyway, yeah.
Cool.
So, we begin with the end. Wait, is this, yeah. We begin with the end of World War III. And by that I mean the last World War III.
Final.
It happened on 11/22 of 1998. What went down at World War III, good sir?
Well, 8 days before my birthday. Actually, let me correct that. 8 days before I was born.
Well, I mean, that's a very accurate statement. Your birthday.
The literal day of my birth. Well, what went down? Ralph defeated Glacier in a nice little 8-minute match. Stevie Ray.
The feud that will never end. Mortal Kombat brought to life the feud that will never end.
Hey, listen.
Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why it was a Mortal Kombat.
So it was more Immortal Kombat.
Yeah, Immortal Kombat. Yes.
Stevie Ray with Vincent defeated Conan by DQ. Sonny Ono actually wrestled a match. It's revolutionary as many times as I've seen him in this list.
Well, it's also revolutionary given the fact that he wasn't a wrestler.
Yeah. I mean, small things. He teamed with the Cat and defeated. With this one, Kaz
Hayashi.
That's what I thought, but I didn't want to butcher it.
Yeah.
And Perry Saturn, 2 actual wrestlers.
Yes.
So.
Well, and the interesting thing is Kaz Hayashi will go on later to lead the Young Dragons.
Yeah.
A faction of Jimmy Wang Yang and Jamie Noble. I mean, neither one of them are called that.
Right, yeah, they're called completely different things, but
yeah,
the point still stands.
Jamie San and Yang.
Yang-san. Man, WCW. Lost my place. Oh, there we go.
Kaz Hayashi.
Yes, sir. WCW World Cruiserweight title match. Kidman defeats Juventud Guerrero. 15-minute banger. Big title change.
They were pretty, at least in my view, they were pillars of the division. Yeah, them and Ray. My goodness.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can't argue that. That's a fair point. Let's see. Speaking of another pillar of the Cruiserweight division, the WCW World Television title match, Chris Jericho with Ralphus retains against Bobby Duncombe Jr.
Yep.
I was about to say something completely different.
Later to become a member of the West Texas Rednecks.
What a squad.
I love that group. It was so freaking funny.
All right.
I don't know if anyone was from West Texas, because I know Henning was from Minnesota.
Yeah.
That's
I don't
whatever.
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I don't think a single one of them was, actually. Let's see. So apparently they put World War III, the 3-ring battle royal, right after this part.
Well, and not in the main event. That's
not in the main event.
Mm-hmm.
The title of the show, not in the main event. But all right, whatever. It's not opening the show either, so neither one makes sense. Kevin Nash won. There's a gaggle of people. I'm not reading all these names.
Don't do it. Yeah, don't do it.
This is what we have Wikipedia for.
Yes.
So.
Or in our case, cagematch.com.
Or
That's
Cage
what I
Match.
use.
Ooh, yeah, both are great. That's actually a great point. The Wikipedia of wrestling.
Now, do you want to get to the actual main event?
Yeah. Let's see.
It's right there.
I really hope that's
No, it's right there.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay.
Well, there's no world title match on this card, which is, always top notch.
This is a great idea.
Great, brilliant idea. To be fair, though, Diamond Dallas Page, over is Rover, defeating Bret Hart. Solid main event as you can get.
So, my version of World War III, the final World War III, will also not be closing out this show. But for a very good reason. And it's not a United States Championship match. It is. So, if you remember right from last week, Billy Boy beat Hulk Hogan for the big gold belt. And if you remember from recently, when Bill Goldberg retained the United States title in the main event of the Great American Bash, on the undercard, Chris Jericho won the World Heavyweight title earlier in the night. And since July at the Great American Bash till now in November, Chris Jericho has been on a one-man mission to prove that Bill Goldberg is a phony, a fraud, a no good, such and such.
He's a faker. He's a phony.
Greenberg, if you will, like he did in real life. And so in the main event of World War III, we have World Heavyweight Champion Chris Jericho versus big gold belt holding Bill Goldberg. And so within this match, there will only be one world champion coming out. I don't know if I'll show it off because I don't love it, but I actually have a design for a what could have been is what I called it. It's a big gold belt style, but with the star logo and.
Oh yeah, you showed me this.
Yeah. I don't. It's not perfect, and so I don't know if I'll pop it up. I might. It just depends on how I feel. But the point is, just like Chris Jericho said so many times in so many conversations, all he wanted was to be the greatest jobber ever. So in the main event, early on, Kevin Nash does win World War III because we're keeping Nash versus Goldberg in the main event of Starrcade, 1998. It ain't finishing the same, but we're keeping the match.
Yeah, that's it.
The
next
it's
show.
the next show. So Nash does win World War III. He wins the final World War III, and when Nash wins the final World War III, all three of the founding members of the New World Order within our timeline have won World War III. Scott Hall won and beat Hogan. Hogan won and beat Sting. And then Nash wins the last one and wrestles Goldberg in the main event of Starrcade.
And what's going to happen? We'll have to find out.
Exactly. We'll get there in a minute. But in the main event, Chris Jericho loses to Bill Goldberg. Goldberg holds up both World Heavyweight titles. And because I don't speed things up, although I swear, because I don't speed things up, Goldberg continues to hold both belts until February because that's when they debut the new logo. So I'll wait until we get to SuperBrawl in February before I make the decision whether or not to show off the what could have been title. Right. But let's talk about what really happened at Starrcade, December the 27th of 1998, sir.
Well, good sir. You got Kidman retaining his cruiserweight title in a triangle match. I know your favorite kind of match.
You're right. It's just the one I can't get enough of. That's why they keep booking it.
That and the death matches. In this case, he beat the other two pillars, in your opinion. Juventud Guerrera and Rey Mysterio Jr.
Absolutely.
My personal favorite.
And like you said, if there is a fourth pillar, it's got to be Chris Jericho.
Yep, absolutely. So. Of course, I will say this next man that he defeated, he retained the title again 10 seconds later, Eddie Guerrero. Strong argument on his case as well.
For sure.
But yeah, so Kidman defeated Guerrero right after that match. So Kidman wrestled for a grand total of, you want to take an educated guess?
No.
Fair enough. Approximately about 26 minutes. First match was about 15. Second match was like 11.
That's not bad.
Yeah, so nice.
I mean,
nice
lots of talent up in there.
Exactly. I was about to say it's at least almost 30 minutes of solid action, followed by Norman Smiley defeating Prince Iaukea.
I mean,
it's a match.
It is a match, and they are both
wrestlers.
They're both wrestlers. So in defense of Norman Smiley and Prince Iaukea, Norman Smiley is training folks down in the Performance Center, so he's got to have more than just the big wiggle. But when I was watching wrestling, that's all it seemed like he was a dance. Much like I was talking earlier today to our friend and how he didn't realize Santino Marella had more than just the Cobra. He thought he was just a joke, and I was like, well, he was on TV a joke, but in reality, he had martial arts background, and he's training people in both professional wrestling and mixed martial arts in the real world. So it's just interesting to see the difference between reality and fiction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And in the case of Prince Iaukea, do you know who his dad is?
No.
You remember that big ghoulish guy with all the gashes in his head from the Dungeon of Doom?
That's his pops. That's his pops?
Yep.
Wow, okay.
Yep.
Seriously?
Yep.
Wow. Okay, you learn something new every day. I did not... I can kind of see it now that
Yep. Shocking.
Dang, that was not my first guess for his dad.
I know, right?
All right, moving slowly on. Perry Saturn defeats the Cat with Sonny Ono. Because yes. And then you got Bryan Adams and Scott Norton with Vincent defeating Fit Finlay and Jerry Flynn. You got the World Television Title match. Conan retains against Chris Jericho with Ralphus. And then for some reason, Bischoff decided I really need to beat Ric Flair. So that's what happened. He decided to beat Ric Flair, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, on pay-per-view.
I didn't book that.
Yeah, I would hope not. I hope you didn't book that.
So I have Bischoff on the outside, with Arn on the outside for Rick. So it's Rick and Benoit versus Vincent and Disciple, because well, I'll let you finish, but this card, and actually this entire show, is little by little, piece by piece, NWO is dying. So,
Been injected with a lethal dose of poison.
well, what I mean is, it was already faltering, and so, it's not Starrcade, but at Sold Out is when I have the death nail really hit.
Kill over and die.
But we'll get there. Continue with Starrcade, good sir.
Yes, sir. Next up, you got DDP defeating the Giants. And then your WCW World Heavyweight title match, which is a no disqualification match. Kevin Nash defeats Goldberg in the very infamous
Shock stick. Yeah, cattle prod. Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, and that's the crap of it. Don't get me wrong, there's lots of crap of it. But the super irritating part of it is, it's already no disqualification.
Yes.
And you have Bam Bam do a run in, you have all these guys do crap, and yet they think that it's... I know it's because, we're protecting that Nash is still a babyface, but the whole shocking gimmick happened behind the ref's back, and Nash pretended like that he didn't know. I hate it. The end, I hate it.
Long story short.
So, my main event of Starrcade. Main event can remain Kevin Nash challenging Bill Goldberg. In my world, Bill is coming into the match at 162 wins, 0 losses. This is for the big...
in real world? Do you remember? Did you write it down?
Well, he made it to 173 and 1, so this had to be 173 and 0 going in.
Gotcha.
That
was just for crowd in the back.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think I'd give Bill like 4 more wins or something or a handful more wins than he.
Yeah, than he got in real life.
Right.
Yeah.
God, I love ending his streak. I can't wait till we get there.
Yeah, he told me about
it's so exciting.
Off camera, he's really excited about it.
Well, it's just something that makes sense.
Yeah.
So.
I totally get you. Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. Anyway, so shock stick gimmick don't make sense. I hate it. I hate this whole bringing back together of the broken up NWO crap they do on the Nitro after. Literally, I cried that night not because of what they did to Bill, but because of what they said to me, the fan. They said, haha, you're a loser just like everybody who says you're a loser for liking this. And it's the day that changed everything for me and wrestling. Don't get me wrong, I didn't stop, but it changed the way I looked at it. It changed my perspective. It made me feel like it didn't want me to be a fan of it. But we're not there. We're the night before.
There you go.
And we don't do it that way. Bill keeps the streak. Nash loses. Big Sexy goes down. Most of the rest of the card I keep. I don't keep the Bischoff thing I already said. It's Vincent Disciple losing to Flair and Benoit. Arn's in the corner of the Horsemen, and right. Eric's in the corner of the Hogan Hollywood Elite NWO gimmick.
Right.
I don't have Jericho. Well, I have Jericho wrestling Eddie Guerrero because these are two guys who have been treated well, and I'm trying to keep them good as the time moves forward. So they wrestle each other. I have Norton's never been in my NWO, so it's Brian Adams and Brian Clark taking on Malenko and Mongo McMichaels. Again, Arn's in the corner. Right. I don't have a reason why it's not Buff. It probably should be Buff Bagwell, Mongo, to be honest. Whatever. The point is, yeah, we'll just say it was Buff and Mongo because that was my Four Horsemen. But I hate that stupid shock stick gimmick. I hate that. Oh, we bring the NWO back together. When I kill the NWO, they're dead. They're done. They're never coming back. There's no red
comic book style resurrection.
Red and white blended together bullcrap like they do the night after this show. There's none of that silver BS with Jeff Jarrett.
No NWO 2000?
None of it. Once the NWO is done, the NWO is done. And I'm not saying you can't have Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett can do stuff. I'm not saying you can't have Scott Hall or Kevin Nash or Scott Steiner, Bret Hart. All these guys can do work. Just don't work with those 3 letters and keep bringing it back from the dead. That we don't need zombie friggin' crap going on. So, sorry.
So long story short, not a fan of the reboots.
As a matter of fact, as what prompted this, even the thing itself didn't stick to its own plan. That's the reason I stick to its plan and make it an invading force, make it a thing that says we're taking over, make it a thing that says we're better than you, MJFing it up.
And you know it.
Yeah, exactly, you know it. And that's why you do a show like Sold Out. That's the reason you put Scott Hall over for the world title. That's the reason you go all in on them having their own television show. Because when you have a concept, stick to it. Make it work. Make it right. So, yes, that when the NWO is done, it's done. I honestly, I do the same thing with Hogan. When I'm done with Hogan, he doesn't come back. And the main reason why, and it's not the reason you might think because I know you dislike Hogan, but the reason why is because it makes his return more impactful when it happens. But if every time you wipe your nose, you blink your eyes, here comes Hollywood Hulk Hogan all over again. Oh, it's red and yellow, it's black and white, it's red and yellow, it's black and white, and nobody knows, nobody cares, none of it's important. And more importantly than that, I don't do all this worky shooty stuff with Hogan and Russo and Bischoff and strip all the titles and
all that. Yeah.
Dude, I can't tell you the number of times that I went through this thing and I saw title vacant, and I'm like,
yeah, that did happen a lot.
Frustrating. So this is this is a couple episodes from now, but I was reading over title vacant. And then I saw who won, and I remembered, I was like, oh yeah, this tournament ends just so the next night the title can be vacant again. Because Kevin Sullivan says, don't worry, Chris, I'm not going to screw you, Chris. I want to give you the world title, Chris. And Chris says, I've been telling you I don't want to be here. And so Turner execs say, whoever doesn't want to be here can go home. Belmont wins tournament, gives back title vacant again. It is just so infuriating. That's why I don't choose to put the title on people that
won't be there the next day.
Exactly. So, let's move on to the year of 1999. In January, on the 17th of 1999, we have WCW and the last time ever in WO Sold Out. What happened at the last ever WCW in WO Sold Out, sir?
Well, speaking of Chris Benoit, got the first one of the night against Mike Enos.
Oh, okay. Do you know who he is?
No recollection.
One of the Beverly brothers.
Seriously?
Yeah, Bo and Blake Beverly were Mike Enos and, oh crap,
you got it.
Wayne Bloom. Cal Bloom's father.
Bloom.
Cal Bloom's son, father, Wayne Bloom, is currently Von Wagner.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
That's why I want his name to be Cal Von Beverly, just like I want Braun Breaker's name to be Bronson Steiner, because neither one of these guys' real last
Bronson's
name.
Good.
Well, his real name is Bronson,
yeah,
and his real name is Rex Steiner. So if you copyright Bronson Steiner, look at that, WWE. You can own it because it's not his real name. And the same with Von Wagner, which I think sucks, but let's just pretend like Von has some significance to him. I think it was like a part of his mama's maiden name. So that's why. What?
You said Von was?
I think it is. I looked it up. It has some significance to whatever. But that's why I took his real first name, Cal, made his middle name Von, and his last name Beverly. Cal Von Beverly. And then you can acknowledge the fact that his father and his uncle, I mean, it's a working uncle, but uncle nonetheless, are former folks within the new generation era and establish his history with their history with the Steiners. As a matter of fact, I now don't get me wrong, I agree with what they did with Braun Breaker because he got pushed. Yeah. But if you acknowledge who Cal Von Beverly is, then you can push him too. As a matter of fact, personally, I would have pushed them together. I would have made them a tag team.
Really?
That's
Braun and Vaughn.
Oh, well, yeah, exactly. Braun and Vaughn. Look at that.
I didn't even mean for that to work.
But what I'm saying is, I thought it would make for an interesting team because their fathers and uncles were adversaries, and so it's that whole.
It's got history.
It's like that. What is it? Like a team rivalry thing that you have respect for, like Michigan and
like
Ohio State, or
like the bar.
Yeah, like exactly. Except you pre-established that they had this ever since they were growing up, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that would have been a fun. Not again, I'm not saying unbook Braun Breaker.
Yep.
But if you would have done it this way, then you could have two guys on the rise instead of just one.
And only one.
And only one, exactly.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. But yeah, that's who Mike Enos is / was.
Well, that's good to know. I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, he's the working uncle. But he's also very much known for being. Oh, yes. Yeah, he's known for being one of the guys in the ring who just stopped wrestling when Scott Hall walked into the crowd.
That's great. Oh, that's right. That was him. Oh, who's the other guy?
I forget.
Remember? Oh, yeah, because Scott Hall walked in and they just said, I guess we're done.
Yeah, I guess we're done here.
All right, guys, see it. How did that match officially end? Is that a no contest?
Yeah, they just walked away. They're like, well, we ain't topping that.
All right.
Guy in denim, man.
Denim, toothpick. Oh, it's over.
It's over.
Forget it. Hair slicked back. Stop it. I can talk about Scott Hall all day. Love that man. All right. Let's see. After that, Norman Smiley defeats Chavo Guerrero Jr. I keep forgetting Chavo's Chavo Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Then I remember his dad.
Chavo Classic.
And it makes perfect sense. Let's see. Finley defeats Van Hammer. Help me out with that one.
What?
Van Hammer?
You don't remember Van Hammer?
I don't remember.
Oh my goodness. So did you ever? Oh, probably not. Did you ever like a wrestler as a child and then grow up to be like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
So that was me in Heavy Metal Van Hammer. I loved Heavy Metal Van Hammer as a child. So
to be fair, that's a cool nickname.
So as a general heads up to the viewer, I will be reviewing Halloween Havoc 1991 as a retro review on the channel coming soon.
Cool.
For the month of October.
Cheap luck.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is the first show where I ever saw Heavy Metal Van Hammer. He took on Playboy Buddy Rose, and he couldn't. I didn't know this at the time, but he couldn't wrestle to save his life. But what he could do was to swing this guitar and have a slide around his body and just whip his hair and just look cool, right? He was like.
I was about to say that sounds cool.
Yeah, he was basically.
Honky Tonk Man.
Oh, hold on. He was basically Von Wagner, like humongous, long hair, long hair.
Look-wise.
Yeah, look-wise.
Got you.
But the rock version of the Honky Tonk Man. The rock version of Honky Tonk Man, but Von Wagner.
You know what? Von Wagner can use that personality.
I thought he was awesome. Turns out he wasn't that great, but he was good at keeping a job. I'll tell you that.
Hey, listen, that's
this
all
guy,
really matters.
he had a job in 1991. And I think he has a job in 2001 when this company closes, or darn close to the company closing.
Big props to dude. Listen, I'm never gonna knock the man for getting a paycheck.
Actually, you might recognize him from being a part of the flock. So he always wore a mesh top, and his nipples were hanging out, and he had hair in his face, so sort of like. I mean, they all did actually.
I was about to say I was 90% of the.
Yeah, I know that was like, but. Yeah,
I'm about to say, I think that was part of the prerequisite. Do you have long hair? All right, just let that hang right in front of your face. All right, you're ready to go.
You're ready to go. Here's some denim shorts we cut holes in
some
for
denim, and here's a mesh T-shirt. Oh yeah, perfect.
You ready?
Get out there, buddy.
I think Ron Reese is the only guy who never wore the mesh top because he is 7 feet tall and you can't teach that. Yep. So they were like, yeah, we don't need. You can have a whole shirt, pal.
Yeah. All right, buddy, you can wear a shirt. It's fine. The flock. Yeah, that makes sense because I recognize flock members pretty quickly if I see their face.
Well, and that's another thing. Like, I love the flock so much. Scotty Riggs, that guy. So I have this dream, right?
Yeah.
I have this dream where I run a wrestling promotion. I don't know if Scotty's still wrestling, but he's one of those guys. So there's this role that I have in mind for my first world champion, my first top guy, where I want it to be that Rocky story, the not the traditional Rocky story, but the Balboa one, where it's like You know, can he still go?
6 movies.
Exactly. Can he still go? Like right now, I've got it booked as Sean Waltman in my head because I'm like, you know, if I just
because we know he can still.
If I just fell into money, I'm like, this is a guy that, you know, people A, recognize, B, has talent, C,
everyone likes.
Like you said, still can go, and yeah, people like him. So I'm like, yeah, that's a guy I'd pick. But like Scotty Riggs, he fits into that category where it's like, man, if I could book him to be my top guy, I would. I'd love to that guy. The only time he got close, do you know the only time he got close to being top guy?
I don't.
ECW.
Really?
Yeah. So.
What year?
2000.
Oh, so it was like.
Yeah, they're on their way out.
Right at the climax.
Yeah. Well, it was like summer of 2000. They didn't close down until.
Yeah, early 2001?
January 2001,
yeah.
February, something like that.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
But, so what happened was, Rob Van Dam's out with an injury.
Again.
And then it was the time they had to give up the 24-month TV title reign.
Yeah.
And so they introduced his best friend. And from the moment he's introduced, everybody's like, oh, you're going to turn on him.
Yeah.
But it's fine. I like...
Hey, listen, I love those stories.
Of course.
Like,
it's MJ.
I know you're going to turn on him. You know you're going to turn on him. The only one that doesn't is the guy that's going to get turned on.
Exactly. And so that's what they did, is they introduced Scotty Anton, who was Scotty Riggs from WCW, as Rob Van Dam's best friend, which I sincerely loved because of Rob Van Dam's time in WCW. Do you remember Rob Van Dam in WCW?
No, not really.
Oh my goodness!
I know ECW.
He was Robbie V
WCW.
because
Robbie V.
Robbie V.
Robbie.
Because Bill Watts was afraid that they couldn't call him Van Dam.
Oh, because of John Claude.
Oh no, because you're saying damn. You know, it's just like with the.
Are you serious? That's it.
The same with the throwing over the top rope. He's so old school. He's like, oh, we got to be careful here. You know, we got to take that.
You throw him over the top rope. DQ. It's over.
Whew. You know, you can't have pads out there. You wimps. So anyway, yeah. When they introduced each other as being best friends, I just thought of them hanging out in the WCW Worldwide with the rotating ring and all that.
That's phenomenal.
It probably not real, but like I was like, oh, this one became best friends.
He had the image in his head though, and you can't get it out after that. And that's phenomenal.
I love the Flock.
and to bring it full circle, the Flock.
Yes. Van Hammer. That's how we got here.
Yeah, I was really trying to figure it out. Bam Bam Bigelow defeated Raph. Luger defeats Conan. And a loser words address match, which I completely forgot about. Chris Jericho defeated Perry Saturn. Of course, Chris came on with Ralphus. So yes, Perry Saturn had to wear a dress. That was the stipulation. That was a thing that happened because WCW.
Interesting side note. I have this DVD that I love. That I would watch religiously, called Secrets of the Ring with Raven.
That just sounds good.
And he talked about how that Perry had more confidence in the dress than he did in his gear.
Really?
Yeah, because he was able to let go and just not let things bother him.
I mean, at that point, you're already wearing a dress.
Exactly, yeah.
That actually makes sense.
Yeah, so it's just an interesting little side note.
Cool. Sounds good. What was that again? Secrets of the Ring?
Yeah, so before Ring of Honor was putting on banger after banger, show after show, right? It pretty much was just we do shoot interviews, not Ring of Honor itself, but like the company that first started producing Ring of Honor would put out these shoot DVDs where people were just doing straight talk, right? So the first Secrets of the Ring was with Dusty Rhodes, and Dusty Rhodes is his Secrets of the Ring wasn't Secrets of the Ring. It was just him talking about, oh, Daddy, I booked this town on the same night. We put the Road Wars on top and we sold out that show too. And I was like, the whole DVD is just him saying how awesome he was as a booker. And so I was like,
sure he was.
Well, sure, but I was just like, that didn't help me, Dusty. Like, and so I picked up the second one because I bought them at the same time.
Right.
And I was like, God, please don't just put yourself over Raven the whole time, right? And he doesn't. He's so smart. I freaking love Scott Levy. So he opens by using action figures to make a point. So he says, what's this called again? He's talking to the interviewer right now, like, oh, Secrets of the Ring. He's like, that's not what I want to talk about. He's like, I want to talk about star power. And so he has a Ric Flair action figure, a Jushin Liger action figure, and somebody else. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure there were 3.
Okay.
Maybe Warrior. It could have been Warrior. But he said, what do all 3 of these guys have in common? And a person was, unsure, but he said they all look like stars. Whether it's the tassels or the face paint or the mask and the jacket or in the Flair's case, the hair and the robe. He's like, these guys carry themselves like stars. And Raven goes on to talk about how, making many, many good points, but one of them is that the reason he always wore a rain jacket out is because that way you can show off your body. He's like, because, he would make the point to other guys that he used Elix Skipper as an example on a regular basis. He's like, I know you've got a good body, and everybody can see you have it, but just if you make it a reveal, then it's more impactful.
The Rick Rude effect.
Yes. How do we get here?
We were talking about Perry Saturn wearing a dress.
Yes. Sorry. Sorry, my bad.
No, that's a good tangent. I didn't know any of that. So
Yeah.
that's cool.
It's so good.
I'm going to try and look that up, see if I can find it.
I just give you the DVD.
That's right. You did say you had the DVD. Yeah, I'll probably borrow that from you then. Okay. So I found my place here. So we got a WCW World Cruiserweight title, Fatal 4-Way match. Had Kidman, Juventud Guerrera, Psychosis, and Rey Mysterio Jr. Kidman won. Great match.
Talent.
So much talent. Oh yeah, right. This. So David Flair teamed with Ric Flair with Arn Anderson, and they defeated Barry Windham and Kurt Hennig. Completely forgot about David Flair. I'm not gonna lie to you.
If I'm doing it again. Do you know what David Flair's problem was?
Being Ric Flair's son?
No. David Flair's problem was he was rushed to TV because he was Ric Flair's son. If they would have had patience. So, do you know how long that he had trained before he was brought to TV?
A year?
No, like maybe a month.
Seriously?
Maybe 2 months if we're being generous,
Wow.
but not long at all. And they rushed him to TV because they thought they could get something out of using him against Rick, Bischoff and the like, right? But I don't think it was ever anything against him per se, because when he stopped trying to be trunks wearing, robe wearing copycat of Pops, he had an interesting story arc, and when he was able to train and do more stuff, he had already been tainted, and thus couldn't overcome what was. But
it was a fireball of a mess.
Yeah, so I think that he would have had a better chance if they would just waited and been patient with his introduction.
But again, WCW.
Well, and as I always say, it's like the go-to line of that's why we're rebooking it.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Sorry, I lost my
place.
Oh,
can I tell you something fun while you're doing that?
Go for it.
I wait to introduce David Flair.
To win.
What?
To win.
Forget it. I'm just gonna tell you. To be one of the final members of the final Four Horsemen. And I say final because there has not been a WWE Four Horseman. There hasn't been an AEW Four Horseman. So in this world, in this booking, David Flair is one of the final Four Horsemen because we wait to introduce him, and there's a purpose behind it. But we'll get there when we get there. Have I told you what the Four Horsemen is brought in to take down?
No.
Oh, I'm so excited for this episode to be over so I can tell you when we're off the air. You're gonna love it.
Gotcha.
Spoiler: they're called BFG.
BFG.
Best first generation. Oh,
Ooh.
So exciting.
All right.
Okay, back to the show. Yeah.
Well, not as excited for this. Stun gun ladder match. Goldberg for Hall. Because you get it because he caught him with the stun gun, cost him the world title. Yeah. What a great way to end the show.
So in my sold out, I only book one match because it's the only match that matters. It is the last. Keep that in mind. It's the last show that is branded with the NWO initials. Because in this main event, to get to this match, Hollywood Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff want the big gold belt back. They make a deal with Bill Goldberg and WCW. They say, so Bill doesn't want to do this. He says, I've already beaten you, Hulk Hogan. Why do I need to wrestle you again? So Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff put on the line NWO Thunder. If Bill Goldberg defeats Hulk Hogan again. There is no more NWO. There is no more NWO Thunder. It is all WCW. There's no more brand split. It's all over. Which, honestly, we've been building to that anyway. That's why Bill holds both the WCW World Heavyweight title and the NWO spray-painted big gold belt, because we're on the path to killing the NWO for good until they show up in the WWE.
Right.
But, that's neither here nor there, because that's not us
That's the
rebooking
future.
WCW. Exactly. Not exactly that. So, Bill goes into Sold Out with a 170-0 winning streak. And 2 World Heavyweight titles. The 90s version, he's the 5th and final man to hold it in this iteration, just like there were only 5 men the first time.
Right.
And he also has the now spray paint taken off big gold belt. And he is defending against Hollywood Hogan. And Hogan is defending Thunder and the existence of the NWO. Bill Goldberg goes over. Thank God, no more New World Order. Hulk Hogan is, I won't say gone forever, but gone for a while. So I think I book him for one more thing. Maybe. But definitely not much more. So, the last WCW show and the first WCW pay-per-view to have the star logo, which I'm personally a fan of. I know a lot of people say that, it's bad, it's ugly, you can't see what it is. I've never understood that. It clearly says WCW. It says World Championship Wrestling. I've never understood people complaining about it. I like that logo. But this, SuperBrawl 9, is the first solely branded WCW pay-per-view in quite some time. And it is the first one with the new logo. What happened at SuperBrawl, sir?
Well, sir, Booker T opens the night. Big W against your man, Disco Inferno.
Oh.
Cody Rhodes' favorite wrestler.
Yeah. I gotta say, Booker T is, so I did a Mount Rushmore video.
Yeah.
If I had, instead of 10-year increments, I had 5, Booker would have definitely been in one of those intermediate periods.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I love Booker T.
Yeah, Booker's great, man.
Did you watch his documentary from A&E?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
So good.
I love the cinematography of that thing when he's walking down the alley and the camera's following.
Beautiful, right?
I saw it so good.
My gosh.
I totally thought about
all
ripping
those
it off.
A&E documentaries have been good, really, not that I expected them to be bad or anything. But the way they were put together was really well executed, looked good. But yeah, Booker's was lovely, absolutely lovely. Then you have Jericho with Ralphus defeating Perry Saturn by countout, because why not? WCW Cruiserweight title match. Kidman retains against Chavo Guerrero Jr. WCW World Tag Team title match. Tournament final. Winners versus losers bracket. Yeah, obviously explain all that later. But 4 Horsemen, which is this scenario in the losers bracket, is Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko defeating Barry Windham and Kurt Hennig from the winners bracket. And let's see. Right after that, Barry Windham and Kurt Hennig defeat Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko. What? Huh?
Stupidity.
Yeah.
Stupidity abounds.
So the first one is about 20 minutes, 1934. And then literally right after that, 20 seconds. Immediate title change.
So basically it's one of those, let's restart the match bull craps.
That's so annoying. Yep. Okay.
You know the best part?
Please.
Vince Russo isn't even here yet.
That is so
See, I think that Vince Russo gets a lot of credit for things that he's not even a part of. Something on a pole match.
Yeah. Not
It
technically.
isn't even always him.
Yeah.
A lot
It
of
isn't
times,
even always.
a lot of times it is him, but it isn't even always him.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's somebody else.
I don't know. Vince Russo was there. That stun gun ladder match would have been a stun gun on a pole match for sure. Yeah. Wow, that was so Russo's not even there yet. It's still bad. Next match, Elizabeth's Hair versus Rey Mysterio Jr.'s Mask. Tag team match, Outsiders, but Kevin so this is the match that happens. Alright. Nash and Hall with Luger and Elizabeth defeat Conan and Ray and Mask.
Yeah.
And what is the worst decision?
Well, my sister disagrees.
Well, yes, Ray's very handsome. Listen,
And I will also say that he's probably the most polite wrestler I've ever met.
I believe that.
So, like, I was at this show in Bakersfield, California, and post-show, I'm standing outside, just, whatever, waiting.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll say hi to somebody, whatever. Everybody, John Morrison, Miz, everybody's driving by like it's their job, right? Which it kind of is.
Everybody drive through this line right here. Don't go anywhere else.
But Ray was the only guy who... him and Ranjan Singh, the manager of Great Khali,
yeah,
they were only two guys that were like, "Hey, hello, how
how's
you
everyone doing?
High fives and take pictures and stuff.
Ray sauces the kids with a mask, puts his mask on their mask so they can feel the energy. Always love that.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Such a great guy. Yes. Listen, Rey Mysterio is a very handsome man, as is pretty much every masked wrestler I've ever seen in mask.
Ain't that surprising?
It's incredible.
Andrade, Rouge, Juventud Guerrera. The list goes on. Wow, that's a good point.
What was his name? Not Pablo. Santos Escobar.
Yeah. El Fantasma.
Yeah. All handsome as hell.
Yeah.
But they're like, let me put on this mask. I don't want everyone
tradition.
To be handsome. It's the tradition.
Yes.
But yeah, so Ray and Mask, still hate this decision. So terrible. Luckily, WWE, in a very wise move, got the mask back. I think it was a real dope story. He asked, like, the original Rey Mysterio if he could put the mask back on, and he said, yeah, go for it, kid.
This is his uncle.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, yeah. So it's not like he'd be mad. Yeah, that's a good point. Keeping it in the family. Let's see. Then WCW World Television Title Match, Steiner defeats Diamond Dallas Page to retain. U.S. Title Match, Scott Hall with Disco Inferno. Defeats Roddy Piper to become the United States champion. So title change there.
Piper's another guy I quit booking. Like I like Piper the character, but
just his wrestling.
He was rough. Yeah. He had hip replacement surgery.
Yeah, he was shot. Yeah.
Like ain't no knock on you. It's just you done.
Yeah, he's still. I mean, listen, he's all-time great.
Oh yeah,
legend.
Great promo. My goodness.
Like, especially at 99.
I loved him talking, and I liked him in the general manager type role. Like, he had, I think it was called a president or something, like commissioner, whatever.
Yeah, I think he was commissioner.
Yeah, whatever they called it. That's fine, but like, if your body can't go, don't lace up the boots. Yeah.
I'm about to say, don't do that to yourself, much less everyone watching. Yeah. Let's see. Then Goldberg defeats Bam Bam. Want to guess how long the match was?
5:50.
Ooh, close. 11:39.
Oh, so double what I said.
Yeah. That's why I said close.
You never know with Bill.
I'm about to say, Bill, it's going less than 15 minutes, most likely. Let's see. WCW World Heavyweight Title Match. Hogan defeats Flair. Yeah.
So, the important thing is Hogan and Flair aren't in the main event of this pay-per-view because...
I'm shocked. I can't believe it.
Hogan don't need to be in no main events, no pay-per-views, and Bill Goldberg kept the title in the last pay-per-view. What I'm booking to main event this show is something I unbooked previously, which was the match between Diamond Dallas Page and Bill Goldberg that got cut off in real life.
Oh yeah, that
happens here. Because what I'm doing when I book WCW is I'm showing the audience
the match they didn't see.
Well, no. What I'm doing is I'm showing the audience you're not missing anything by not having the New World Order. You have good quality wrestling. You have the People's Champion of Diamond Dallas Page versus the undefeatable monster Bill Goldberg in the main event, and you're proving that, yes, we are rebranding with this new star logo, but what we're delivering you with this new brand of World Championship Wrestling exclusive, no New World Order, is good wrestling. And I'm sorry, but that's what I want when I think about a wrestling show. I know that some people like Eric Bischoff and MJF have said this week that, I'm just not into that there wrestling, but... although I guess MJF didn't technically say, he said same or something, but if you can deliver good quality wrestling, do it, and that's what I'm doing with this rebooking, this reworking, this remix of World Championship Wrestling in the main event of SuperBrawl 9. Diamond Dallas Page takes on Bill Goldberg, sorry DDP, and loses. But the important thing, We'll save that for the next episode.
There you go.
Thanks for watching. If you haven't gotten your copy of Everlasting Survivors All Day Long, Volume 1, there are limited first printings still available at Etsy.com. There's the Nick Crook cover. Here's the Jeff Hicks cover.
Perfect. I grabbed the right one.
Yeah, you're good. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.